rounding third with home plate in sight. But even the best players need a coach to wave them in. Safe! Welcome to Perfect Game Retirement, hosted by Ryan Ledden, former pro baseball player, University of Georgia economics graduate, and now certified financial planner with Black Oak Asset Management. He's here to guide you through the final stretch and help you slide safely into a winning retirement. Play ball!
Welcome in. This is Perfect Game Retirement. Glad to have you with us today. I am Ben George. He is Ryan Ledden at Black Oak Asset Management. He is president there, also a certified financial planner. They have offices in Alpharetta, Macon, Lawrenceville. We're going to talk all types of retirement planning conversations like they do in the office every day with their clients. But more specifically, got a good show. We're going to talk about reviews, periodic reviews that should be taking place with your advisor, how often those happen, what are you talking about, what kind of conversations take place at Black Oak Asset Management. We'll get into that. But also, financial disease. The doctor is in today. We're going to give you some financial diseases that people suffer from. Not real diseases here, but we'll break it down, help you find a cure for these different things that ail you financially. Ryan, what's going on this week?
Yeah, a lot going on, a lot of year-end stuff. It's crazy to think we're in November now, and
wild.
Always, I don't know why it always sneaks up, but it does. It's holiday season. It's here, but it's awesome at the same time. So definitely some things to think about when it comes to your planning by the end of the year. A lot of stuff going on in the office here. We're definitely making sure people have, if they haven't taken their required minimum distributions, we're making sure we do that because they have to be done by the end of the year. Roth conversions, those have to be done by the end of the year. So some definitely year-end things to be thinking about out there. Obviously, there's some things when it comes to planning that can carry over to the beginning of next year, but there's a lot of things that can't. 401k contributions, those have to be in by the end of the year as well. And most people do that systematically through a paycheck, but they do need to be in, especially those who have a solo 401k. So if you're a business owner and it's just the employee contributions have to be in by the end of the year. The match can be after the year, but the employee contributions have to be. But as far as around our office, obviously we're big family people, so we're not going to be in the office every day. So we always announce that to our clients, like, hey, between Christmas and the end of the year, yeah, there's going to be a few days that we're working, but if you haven't planned ahead and your emergency, we'll take care of you, but it's not going to be our emergency. So we give people a big heads up. Even the CPA firm I work with, they're awesome, but man, the last 2 weeks of the year, they shut it down. They're like, and they let people know that, hey, it's family time. So your emergency is not our emergency. So we're not that way, but we're definitely not in the office much. So get that stuff in ahead of time.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think like this final quarter of the year just flies by. You got a lot going on with school, with sports, with holidays, family. We get to December very quickly. So take the time now to begin planning. Get ahead. Give yourself enough time to do whatever you need to do before the end of the year. And Black Oak Asset Management can help you with that. 800-388-0085 is that number. You can get in touch with Ryan, schedule a complimentary consultation, begin that planning, look at what you need to do before the end of the year. It all starts at 800-388-0085. Now, I know there's a lot going on now in terms of meetings for the end of the year, but I want to talk about just kind of the periodic reviews that you do with clients. Because I know any good financial advisor is going to stay in touch with his or her clients on an ongoing basis. And, these things might look different for different people. So I want to talk about, how your reviews might look inside the office at Black Oak Asset Management with different types of clients. So what about someone, I know you're a former teacher, so you might be into this, but someone who's very interested in the data. How do those meetings look, and what do you guys discuss when that's the case?
Yeah, I mean, those are going to be our stereotype in here, but those are going to be more our engineer brains or our accountant brains, and we do have that because that sometimes those people who are wired that way, sometimes those are the people that are the kind of do-it-yourselfers, and that's fine. But that they want to dig into the minutia of the data, and sometimes you can get lost sometimes in that data. But I do love the data. I do like I'm a numbers guy. But I don't drill down on that unless that's what they want to drill down on. And we'll get into the different types of reviews here in a second. But this one is very data driven. you have to be careful, like as an advisor, if you're only strictly with data, sometimes you can potentially lose clients, because what if we're having a review and the market's at a 20% pullback? Well, if it's only data driven, then someone can say, well, I could have lost 20% on my own. I've heard that before. It's like, well, maybe you lost more, but you just never know.
Right.
Maybe you lost less. Who knows? But if it's strictly data, sometimes that can be misleading, because there's so much more to this. There's so much behavior. There's so much emotion. And it's not just about returns all the time. It's about taxes. It's about estate. There's so many other aspects that the data does not include if you're only focusing on maybe just a rate of return.
Yeah. Well, what about those that are interested in really being family focused? I know there's a lot of people you work with, Ryan. You want to take care of your family, make sure you're working towards those goals that you might have. But what are you discussing in these meetings for someone that really has an emphasis and priority on their family?
I enjoy those because you really get to know people, and we get to know our clients very, very well. But sometimes when they really pull back the curtain and really dive into family dynamics and what's important to them, and really, I just kind of shut up and let them talk. Those meetings are great. I love that, because it opens them up to their life, and we want to hear about those things. So sometimes we have review meetings where it's the exact opposite of what we just mentioned, the ones that are data driven. Sometimes we don't even talk numbers at all, and it's all family focused, or just what's going on. Is there a death in the family, or what's the dynamic, whatever it may be. So those sometimes are the best meetings. Me being a numbers guy, but I like to sit there and listen, because everyone has a story, and it just seems like everyone's stories is like better than your own. It seems like you hear people like, "Oh, that's an awesome story." Mm-hmm. So sometimes those are the best review meetings.
I love that. Look, if you're listening and going, okay, I need to sit down, and I'd love to have someone I could work with on an ongoing basis and put a plan in place, make sure I'm staying on track, make sure I'm adjusting as life throws me curveballs and as life changes. You could do that. Just call 800-388-0085. Again, 800-388-0085. It's an opportunity to schedule a complimentary consultation with Black Oak Asset Management. Again, 800-388-0085. Now, not everybody is probably excited to come in and meet with you, Ryan, maybe because they're busy. They just, hey, I don't have the time for that. I'm not really concerned about anything right now. But what do you talk about when somebody comes in because more or less they're supposed to come in because it's that time of year?
This does happen. It's kind of funny, because we are very systematic on our follow-up and asking people if they want to meet. And then sometimes people do that. They'll either come in or schedule a phone call or a Zoom, and they're like, okay, so what are we going to talk about? And I'm like, well, I was going to ask you if you had anything. Yeah. Of course, I always have things to discuss and talk about, but yeah, sometimes they do it because they feel like they're just supposed to, and that's okay. And sometimes those meetings last 10 minutes, or those conversations last 10 minutes, and that's okay. It's a good check-in. But yeah, sometimes, and we just mentioned it to start this show, I mean, we're looking up and it's November, and same thing happens, especially this time of year. Like, doing reviews are sometimes very difficult, because there's stuff going on constantly. And it's if it's not November, December, it's the month of May, where it's complete chaos as well in people's life with school ending. So, but yeah, sometimes it's just a check-in, and sometimes we don't even need to talk specifics. Just like, hey, everything good? Yeah, we're good. Back and forth, and then poof, then it's off to 3 months later or 4 months later. So yeah, sometimes it happens that way.
Okay, well, what about if there's someone that's kind of in a similar boat, but just it is really hard to actually get them to come in because they're always on the move. They always have something going on. Maybe they're always too busy. How do you handle that?
Yeah, and I do. I mean, that's our job is to follow up and request a conversation or a meeting or whatever. And sometimes you got to meet halfway sometimes. And so if people are just that busy and trying to get them I can't force them to schedule a meeting, but it's kind of funny. And I have one specific client in my head right now, the family, and yeah, they have a lot going on. Everybody's got a lot going on, but they really do. I mean, there's some dynamics going on there, but and he'll apologize. He'll be like, man, I'm sorry, man. We're good. Everything's cool. Appreciate all that you do, but yeah, we just don't have time. Okay, I mean, that's fine. I'll reach out to you in 3 more months to see if anything's different or changed. But and that's why we post our schedule online. So if people like that person or that family, they're like, ooh, I actually need to talk to him, they can hop on our online calendar and request time, and then I approve it, and then we can have a conversation. So yeah, there are still people, especially, I use my age demographic, 30s and 40s, which I'm not 30, but the 30s and 40s, I'm in my 40s. But yeah, there is a ton going on. So there's some things in my life that I'm like, yeah, that's not in the pecking order of life of things. That's not important for me right now. But hopefully, I feel like I'm biased. What we do is pretty important. So yeah, we need to try to meet up, but I can't make people.
If this is an opportunity, if you want to take advantage of this, though, if you do want to sit down and meet, if you're maybe the opposite of that type of person, 800-388-0085 gets you an opportunity to sit down with Ryan and the team there at Black Oak Asset Management, whether it be in Alpharetta, Macon, Lawrenceville, any of their offices, or just over Zoom. If it's more convenient for you to do it that way, 800-388-0085 is that phone number. Begin talking about your future. Begin that planning process. It all begins there, 800-388-0085. All right, a couple more here, types of people that you might work with, Ryan. What about someone who never remembers anything about their plan when they come in? Hey, what am I supposed to be doing? It's like always a reset button for them when they come in. What are those reviews meetings like?
They can be interesting. They can be a little bit chaotic sometimes, but a lot of times we just have to kind of set their compass back to due north and go over their plan again and reset everything. And a lot of times we do things like that, and it kind of puts their mind at ease. But reviewing of the plan that we put together, the portfolio we put together, sure, there's volatilities of up and downs in the stock market, but reminding them, hey, this thing is built to do this, or the top side on a portfolio is here and the bottom is here. So a lot of times it's just reminding people, and sometimes it's answering the same questions over and over, and that's fine. I get it. This is what we do all day long, and people aren't thinking about this all day long like we do. So, it is a lot of it's reminding. I mean, we give our clients access to their financial planning software. Sometimes they'll forget their password. We have to reset things for them, and that's okay. I get that. That's what it's there for. But once you have access to that website, then you can always go back and revisit it. But a lot of times it takes us to kind of revisit that to put their mind at ease. All
right, last one. What if you're someone that's got high anxiety? And there's a lot of people that are just not comfortable around money, maybe with the way the market's going up and down. But if you have somebody that needs to be reassured quite a bit, Ryan, do you handle that a little more delicately?
Yeah, we can. I mean, you get to know the personality of the people that you do work with, and sometimes different situations call for higher anxiety, and sometimes the higher anxiety has nothing to do with their situation. I had one client who, I think it was the beginning of the year when the market was not doing well at all, and her portfolio was almost down nothing because her portfolio was not all in the market. Her risk tolerance is not very high, and that's okay. So sometimes you have those people with high anxiety, and they just need to be reassured, and that's where we earn our keep when things are not going well, and we reassure them that, hey, this is still a part of the plan. We built the plan that would factor in negative situations, whether it's the market or needing care one day, or longevity or inflation. We build plans out for that.
All right. No matter what kind of personality you have, whoever you are, Ryan's probably worked with someone very similar, right? He's seen a lot of situations through the years. It's a great chance to sit down and work with a professional that can help guide you on your retirement path, help you reach those goals. 800-388-0085 to get in touch with Black Oak Asset Management. Again, 800-388-0085. Schedule a complimentary consultation right now. It's an opportunity to sit down with Ryan, learn more. All begins with a call, 800-388-0085. All right, we're going to talk financial diseases and the cure. The doctor is in next here on Perfect Game Retirement.
Safe at the plate and safe in retirement. Ryan Ledden's got the plan to get you there on Perfect Game Retirement.
You're listening to Perfect Game Retirement with Ryan Ledden at Black Oak Asset Management, a certified financial planner, the president there, and you can find him anytime by calling 800-388-0085. Again, 800-388-0085. We offer everyone that listens to Perfect Game Retirement an opportunity to schedule a complimentary consultation at 800-388-0085. Also, if you're looking for more financial education, I know we have a lot of people that are tuned in to learn more about retirement, about financial planning. Check out the Black Oak Asset YouTube channel. It is a great opportunity to learn more about all types of topics. Ryan, I know you just put out a video just a week or so ago about the difference between pre-tax and after-tax. I know a question you get a lot, but there's so many of these kind of conversations and ideas and topics that you discuss every day that you expand on YouTube as well, right?
Yeah, I enjoy doing the YouTube channel and doing the videos there with you. It's a variety of topics, and it can be very topical with what's going on in your economy. I mean, like you said, one of the recent ones a few weeks back was the difference between pre-tax and post-tax, pay now, pay later. Again, something that we talk about all day long, basically every day, but sometimes the words get misleading, post-tax or Roth, or after-tax. I mean, those are all kind of interchangeable when it comes to retirement plans. So yeah, I mean, the variety of different topics. We have a ton of videos on there, and we've really, been really pushing that out for the last year or so, I guess, on YouTube. Maybe not quite a year, but been doing the podcast before that, and then we're just trying to transition that into video as well. So we've enjoyed doing it, but yeah, huge variety of topics. Go there, listen, watch, subscribe. I mean, that helps our videos to get out. It's educational as far as the content goes, so we want to try to spread as much wisdom and knowledge out there as we can.
Yeah, I think that's the beauty of it. You're not going to there's not a sales pitch. It's really just informational, right? Discussing these topics that Ryan meets with his clients about every single day to help provide a little insight into the process, but also maybe some answers and some guidance, some good takeaways from from the channel as well. So just search Black Oak Asset Management on YouTube, and you'll find it right there. All right, let's jump into a quick question here that came into the show before we get into our final topic. And Stephen Buford asks, I have about 4 years left until retirement, and I'd like to have $1 million in my 401k at the time I finish working. I should be able to achieve that if I save aggressively, but I also have a lot of debt. Should I focus more on paying off the debt or piling up more money in my account?
Good question, Stephen. A lot, I think, depends on the type of debt it is. There's, I guess, all debt's not great, but obviously, real estate or mortgage debt's not as bad, especially if you have a very, very low interest rate. But the problem is with a mortgage payment, that's usually a pretty large chunk of your income on a monthly basis. So yeah, I get having, 7 figures in an account to have $1 million, but okay, maybe you end up being a little bit short. But if your debt is consumer or car, I mean, yes, I would really focus on getting rid of that. If you got 4 years left, make a plan to have that consumer debt hopefully paid off before then. But let's say it's a car note, you got 5 years left on it. Let's try to pay that off. That's just an overhead cost that you don't want to have on a monthly basis. Definitely credit card debt. So I think it depends on the type of debt that you have and the ratios of how much money you have. And maybe this $1 million is the majority of what you do have. And then let's say your house payment or your house note is still $500,000. Well, that's going to take a lot of your liquid assets. So maybe you just focus on saving as much as you can in that scenario. So consumer debt, car debt, things like that, I would get rid of. Mortgage debt kind of depends on how much you have left and really the interest rate that you do have. But I would focus on getting that debt paid off in the next 4 years.
Yeah, and I know you always probably hear that goal. I want $1 million, right, in my 401k. But again, you might need a lot less than that potentially. So it's something good to figure out. Again, you can begin talking about these things. It's kind of the question that you want to bring to the table when you set up that first consultation with Ryan. 800-388-0085. You can do that. No obligations, just a chance to have a 15, 20-minute conversation with Ryan and the team there at Black Oak Asset Management about some of the concerns you have, some of the questions, and just kind of get a better idea of what the process looks like. It's 800-388-0085. All right. Talked about financial diseases. And again, these aren't actual diseases, right? But these are some things that might plague you in financial planning. I want to start with acute portfolio riskopathy. I don't know if you've heard of this one, Ryan, but here it is. The patients afflicted with this disease, they often see volatility in their portfolio, which can lead to some other health issues like an upset stomach or the inability to sleep. So what exactly causes this then, Ryan?
Yeah, it's people not understanding really what the standard deviation, I'm going to nerd out on you a little bit here, but what your standard deviation of your portfolio, how far down, how far up does it potentially go? And so many times you're going to be somewhere within those guardrails. You just may not realize it. Sure, we don't want to lose money in our accounts or see our accounts go down, but it's going to happen. It's just, do we have the portfolio built that with the downside that you are comfortable with? Because there's going to be a downside. So just know what that downside is and know what that top side is. But the risk reward of your portfolio is going to determine how far apart those guardrails are or how narrow those guardrails are. So if you're suffering from anxiety and stomach aches from how your portfolio is doing back and forth, then maybe you need to reassess and see where your portfolio is at and maybe be a little bit more risk adverse than having a bigger risk tolerance.
Yeah, definitely. All right. What about old fogies disease, Ryan? You've heard of this one? This is when you have a long lifespan combined with poor planning, and that can cause its victims to start running out of money toward the end of life. Is there a cure for this?
That's a tough one. Old fogies disease. That's funny. But yeah, it's hard to fix kind of a lifestyle thing that's been going on if you've done any planning, which again, that's like probably the topical word of this show every week is the planning piece. And if you're not planning, then it's hard to fix a lifetime of poor planning and maybe not saving enough and not having enough toward the end. So there is a legitimate concern for some people of running out of money. Now, obviously, if you get Social Security, that's going to continue on forever. And if you have a pension, great as well. But if you haven't saved, it's tough to find a cure for that. There's maybe solutions out there. Maybe you get family help, but it's tough to cure that if you've had a whole lifetime of poor planning and poor saving.
Yeah, take out that risk of running out of money by actually sitting down and beginning a plan. And you can begin that process right now at 800-388-0085 to schedule a complimentary consultation with Ryan and the team there, a strategy session at 800-388-0085. Begin talking about these things, right? You don't want to be caught at the end of life and a long retirement. Be able to enjoy that and then worry about, oh man, I'm going to run out of money. What can I do next? Avoid that, right? Put a plan in place that can help you have that confidence in retirement. 800-388-0085. All right, here's one that we've all suffered from, I think, a little bit recently, inflationitis. So this portfolio disease never exhibits noticeable symptoms at first, but it can actually go undetected for a while, but it slowly causes that deterioration of the buying power of your money. So what are the usual causes of inflationitis?
Yeah, it's kind of the silent killer of a portfolio sometimes. And we've seen that in recent history. Like you said, inflation's been running pretty high. And our safer investments, our money market accounts, our CDs for a while, we're paying pretty good there. I think for a while there, we were kind of in the mid fives, if you will, of kind of short-term CD rates or money market rates. And since then, they've just slowly trickled down. So yes, it's nice that safe money that's parked there to earn some interest, which is great. That's what you should do. But just know that if the inflation rate is higher than what you are receiving, you're kind of really losing money or purchasing power. Again, your account balance isn't less, but you're not able to purchase as much. So inflation has been a real thing. Has it slowed down? Yes, it certainly has. It has slowed down from the levels that we were at in 21, 22, 23, but there's still, real estate has high inflation rates. College tuition rates are high inflation rates, healthcare. So there are things that sometimes if you get too safe with your money, it loses purchasing power, and you don't really realize it till, after several years, if not decades, go by.
Yeah, inflationitis can be a problem, so prepare for that appropriately. What about nursing homeitis? Patients suffering from nursing homeitis, they may experience rapid deterioration of their wealth due to exorbitant nursing home or assisted living expenses. We've seen these numbers go up and up and up. So how can we prevent nursing homeitis?
Yeah, again, it goes back to that keyword planning and having discussions about it. I mean, some people can self-insure by how much they have saved or pensions that they do have. So there is a real thing of self-insuring and not necessarily having to buy a long-term care policy or maybe a life insurance hybrid that you can use your death benefit on care one day if you meet the certain requirements that they do have, or even annuities that have a long-term care rider on there. So it's a real thing. It needs to be discussed and talked about. And as long as it's been discussed and we feel like, okay, and there's still a little bit of an unknown of how much is going to be used, if there's anything used at all. So there are many variables when it comes to this, but it is a real thing where, let's say, a husband-wife, and maybe there's an age difference between the two, and I'm going to stereotypically say the male is the older one, and they go into a care facility because they have mental illness, let's say, and they, have Alzheimer's or dementia, and they live for a long time. It can really deplete the assets, and then the spouses, they're left behind with a significantly less amount. So it's a real problem, but it needs to be discussed and addressed, hopefully.
Absolutely has to be discussed and addressed. All right, one last one. Uncle Sam syndrome, Ryan. This is one of the most reviled diseases in our society today. It causes the patient to turn over too much of his or her money to the federal government, either while living or upon death, or both. And I know this happens quite a bit. So how often do you see this and see people suffering from Uncle Sam syndrome?
Yeah, I mean, it can be a real thing. I mean, some people, it's relative. It's all relative. Like what some people think is they're paying a lot in taxes versus someone else. It's a relative situation. It's like, oh, okay, it's really not that much. Or yeah, I recently had a client and they got a pretty large lump sum buyout, but their tax bill was very high, significantly high. So it's the IRS. It's pay me now, pay me later. You're gonna have to do those things. But sometimes there are planning you can do over time that prevent you from giving so much of your net worth to Uncle Sam. So obviously, legally, we try to strategize to see how less of taxes that we can pay. So the less taxes that you pay means more that you put in your pocket. So being tax planners, and we partner with a firm that does tax preparing. So we work in conjunction with them to help our clients out, keep as much money in their pocket as possible.
I love that. That is the goal. That is one of the benefits of working with a financial advisory, right? You can maybe be more efficient with your money, keep more of your money that you've worked for in retirement, and it all begins with a call and a conversation. 800-388-0085 is the number to get in touch with Black Oak Asset Management. Again, 800-388-0085. Remember, they have offices in Alpharetta, Macon, Lawrenceville. You can go in person, but you can also meet virtually as well if that's easier. 800-388-0085. I know, Ryan, too, you have a couple of books that people can get their hands on, too, if they call and request as well.
Yeah, we have a few different kits on there. You can call or go to our go to a website, retireperfect.com, and you can request a consultation, or there's 3 different kits there. Diffusing the retirement threats. If you're on the doorsteps of retirement and you need to action plan to what to do first when you go through, it's got kind of step-by-step to things to think about, how-tos, plans of action. There's also a federal retirement code for all those federal employees that, it's been a hot topic with the government, and so there's a lot of people that are either retiring or being forced to retire. So there's a retirement kit on the retirement code for federal employees, and then there's a book for women for widows or divorcees, or you can even be married. It's geared toward females, and that's a kit that they can request as well. All we ask is just name, address, phone number, stuff like that. I mean, we need to send it to the right address, so make sure you put in the right information so it doesn't get returned to us.
Absolutely. Well, get in touch, 800-388-0085, 800-388-0085. Thanks again for listening to Perfect Game Retirement. For Ryan Ledden at Black Oak Asset Management, I am Ben George. Hope you have a great week. Talk to you again soon.
Information provided is for informational purposes only and does not constitute tax, investment, or legal advice. Please consult with a qualified professional before taking any action. Securities and registered investment advisory services offered through Silver Oak Securities, Inc., member FINRA SIPC. Black Oak Asset Management and Silver Oak Securities, Inc. are not affiliated.